Hello guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about demons and shinobis. So yeah, let us begin, ladies and gents. So we basically go off from last episode where we currently see now Izuku now in his dorm room. After the mission, he would get his reward, which was, a few magnetite and also, a few yen. But currently, he's currently suffering. And before we actually continue on with this episode, my nose is absolutely suffering. Like, what the Seriously, I can barely breathe because of my nose right now. Like, seriously. Like, there's so much, and if you're going to ask, I'm gonna say sipon, which is the Filipino word for, basically go nuggets there. And let's just say it isn't fun. So yeah, continuing on. Sorry about that, my nose currently. But either way, continuing on. As we currently see our boy Izuku currently sad. Wait. Sorry about that. Anyway, continuing on with this episode. As we currently see Izuku currently just sad. He finally met his father after so many years. But he still feels hatred towards him. Especially since that he's a so-called ninja teacher, or, a shinobi, instructor. As Izuku would say this, that old man, he would say, still kind of angry at him, sorry about that. As before he can say anything else, one of his demons, specifically Orthros, would say this, Izuku, are you... As Izuku would say this, oh, I'm fine. He would just sigh. As Orthros would say this, you're not fine. You're sad. As one of his demons specifically, as our boy Jack, aka Jack Frost, would say this, you don't need to be that sad, ho. Maybe we can, go to a nearby shop? May hang out, ho? He would say, as Izuku would say this. It actually does sound like fun. Though, as he would still grip on his shirt, specifically where his heart is, as he would say this. That damn old man. Why? Why abandon us? And what is that excuse? Excuse for... As he would remember what he said, the excuse for him not being, there during the death of his mother, aka his wife, as he would flashback going back to, where it happened, as he would say, I was busy with ninja work. I didn't know that your mother was... As after that, we would go back to Izuku, as he would say this. That old man. Seriously. What type of idea would be that? Forgetting me? Forgetting your own son? It just, as you would just, just be angry. As you'd throw away some of the stuff on his, desk, as you'd say, Duh! The damn old man! I'm pissed, he would say. As one of them would say this, specifically his demon. As, Pyro Jack would say this. Hey, you don't really need to worry. Besides, I have a great idea. I heard that, during our time here, right, in the school, well, I heard that there's apparently this nice Funamaki roll place. I heard it's pretty good. Especially with all the ladies, he would say. As Izuku would say this. I told you, Jack. I am not interested in love right now. Besides, after what I saw, I just... I need to get some sleep. As after saying that, one of them would say this. Specifically, Abraxas would say, yes, you really need to get some sleep. Besides, you have a new day. Especially it's going to be a school day tomorrow. As he would say this. Yeah. Night, guys, he would say. as all of his demons, including ones that are not shown yet, would say, "Night!" As after doing so, he would set up his alarm as he would fall asleep. So, the next day. The next day, as we currently see our boy Izuku going through the school, as he's greeted by some of his classmates, mostly, female classmates, as he would say, "God, he's so hot," some of them would say. Now some of the boys would say, "God damn it, why does he have to be so pretty?" He would say. Like all of them would say at the same time. As Izuku would just say to himself, "I don't want to be dealing with this," he would say. As he's currently, you know, eating his lollipop, or, has a lollipop in his mouth. As while he was saying that to himself, one of them, specifically, a guy would say, "Hey, Izuku," said one of them. As Izuku would look towards him, as he would say this, "Hey, buddy, I heard that you're planning to go somewhere. Do you have any plans or anything? I'm maybe planning for you to maybe join like us in a little trip," he would say, as he would say this. "What is it?" he would say, not even caring. As he would say this, "Well, we heard that you're new here, so why not bring you to a nice restaurant? I heard there's a pretty good food around." Sorry about that, wait a minute. "A nice Budamaki roll place nearby," he would say, as he would say this. "Sorry, not interested," he would say. As before he can actually leave, one of them, specifically one of his, demons, specifically Arbori, Orthros would say, "Izuku." As he would say this. "What is it, Orthros?" he would say. As he would say this. "You need to at least socialize. You wouldn't want to become a neat, as you were," he would say. As he would say this. "Fine, Orthros," he would say to himself. As after saying that, he would look towards the two boys. Alright," says Izuku. As after saying so, the boys would say, "Let's go then," he would say. As after saying that, they would start leaving. Immediately, because it's currently after class. So, after a while of walking through the city, they would finally arrive at the Fudumaki roll place, or just Fudumaki's. I'm just gonna shorten it to rolls or whatever. Sorry about that, anyway, continue on. So, as after, they finally arrive at the place, you would see a large sign saying Fudumaki roll place, owned by Hanzo something. As Izuku would say this. "Huh, cool," he would say. As after saying that, one of them would say this. "Come on, let's go," he would say. As Izuku would say this. "Ugh, fine, I'm coming," he would say. As after going inside, he would see a somewhat traditional looking restaurant. As after sitting on one of the stools, a old man would appear. As when the old man appears, he would say this. "Ah, hello there. Uh, hey, you're new here," he would say. As Izuku would say this. Hello," he would say. As he would say this. "Oh, I've forgotten to introduce myself. The name's Hanzo," he would say. "Oh, so, what do you want to order?" he would say. As everybody would just, suggest, the Funamaki rolls. As he would say this. "I'll have the Funamaki roll. Specifically, tuna mayo with bonito flakes," he would say. As he would say this. "Got it then," he would say. As after saying that, he would start getting ready for the Fudumaki rolls. As after a while, they would finally arrive as everybody would try it out. Except for Izuku. He would notice the people basically trying it would eat it in a, let's just say, not normal way. If you don't get it, well, you probably never watched the anime at the time. Oh, I should say I regretted that part. Like, why would they animate it like that? Why? Why, Kiryu Sensei? Why? So, as when Izuku tried it, he would say, not bad. I mean, not as good as Katsudan, but as after saying that, he would say this, specifically the old man named, Hanzo. I didn't know that you like, that stuff. Whatever. Anyway, so what brings you here, he would say. As he would say this. "Oh, I'm transferred here. I'm currently a new student at, Not Gekugan High. Wait for a second. I'm just a new member of Shujin Academy, he would say, as he would say this. Ah, Shujin Academy. I do heard of that, but I honestly don't really care. Also, he would say, I also heard of you for a while. Anyway, as after saying that, the students that basically brought him there would basically like leave, saying that they have to go somewhere. As after saying so, he would say goodbye to them as Izuku would look towards the man, as he would say, hey, can I ask for some green tea? He would say, as he would say this. Sure, I'll be right back, he would say. As after saying that, he would start leaving, as he would say this. Actually, this place is actually pretty nice. In fact, it actually feels calming, he would say. As he would, look at his phone as a few of his demons would ask, hey, Izuku, you okay? Said, a somewhat, worried, Actually, yeah, an Ippon Datara. I'm actually gonna change his voice a little bit because for some reason, every time when I look at Ippon Datara, when I first saw him, I thought it was going to be, revealed as like a Feistes. Hear me out. When I first saw him, a Feistes, or at least, Ippon Datara, literally had an attire similar to like, a Forge Master or something of that sort. And in Legend, specifically towards, a Feistes, she, or he in this case, I'm starting to think about the, Damachi version of her. Anyway, he's always depicted as like a man with deformities. And when I saw him, seeing him with one leg, oh, maybe that might be, something to do with, like, deformities, specifically when you're born with, like, one leg or something of that sort. And with one eye, probably something to do with a tumor. But no! When I saw that his actual name was Ippon Datara, I was just like, what? Anyway, continue on. As when Izuku was about to, get something, specifically, his phone, he would see the door open, the bell ring, and would look over and would see as he would be met with the rest of Team Hanzo and Kiria. As Kiria would say this. So anyway, girls, before we can actually stop, everything would go silent. Izuku would just be there, just like, enjoying some of the Fudamaki rolls that he was given, or at least some of it left, as one of them specifically being that of the girl named Katsuragi would say this. Oh, hello there, hello there, hottie, she would say, as Izuku would say this. He would just be confused, as Kiria would say this. Hello there, son, he would say, as Izuku would say this. Hold up! As before we can actually, see Izuku actually say that word, we would sort of end off the episode right off here. So yeah, that is gonna be a pretty short episode this time. But before we actually leave, we're just gonna be, extending it a little bit. More specifically, we'd go to a different perspective. As we would currently see, some of Crimson's squad, or at least just one of their members. Specifically, the green-haired girl by the name of Hikage. Yeah, her. As she would say this to herself. So, I'm gonna be the one that tries to seduce this Izuku kid. This is certainly gonna be interesting, she would say to herself. As we would flash back towards, back before she would actually be given this mission. As we would go back to Rin, aka Rin Sensei, as she would say this. Alright, Hibijo, she would say, as the rest of Hibijo's squad would basically appear, as she would say this. Alright, I need one of you to try and seduce this Izuku boy. And if you do, you're gonna be handsomely rewarded, she would say. As after saying that, one of them would raise their hand, specifically Haruka. As she would say this. Then I'll gladly do, but before she can actually say it, she would say this. Not you, she would say. As she would say, as she would say this. I think this time, Hikage would do it. And so, this is where we're gonna be ending off this episode. So, yeah. So, I hope you liked the video, comment and subscribe, and before we actually end this episode, hope to see you guys again, in a few hours, because I'm gonna be making another video. Anyway, bye-bye!